I'm Dorka. Today I'm going to be talking about a very emotional topic that I never had to deal with before. But before we jump into anything, I would like to ask you a question and let me know in the comments below if you've ever felt alone or if you ever felt that you didn't belong anywhere. Because today I'm going to be talking about it's not basically an event because you can feel alone many times in your life. But I'm going to be talking about that feeling when you feel like you don't belong anywhere. Now, before I go into the details, I want to emphasize that I won't be talking about a specific situation. For example, you don't belong to your school, your church, your sport club. I'm going to be talking about the feeling in general. So I would like to give you guys 5 tips how I coped with this feeling. I never really had to deal with this when I was in high school up until I was 19, because in high school I always had that group of friends who made me feel like I belonged there, and it was basically either girls or boys, but I always had 3 or 4 people who I could rely on, with whom I spent most of my free time. But when I went to university, everything changed. Of course, I still keep in touch with my old friends, but it's still not the same. And this is why I thought that I would make a video of it, because even I can watch it back every time I feel like I'm alone or if I don't belong anywhere. Let's jump into this. I would like to give you guys 5 tips of how I coped with this situation. Basically what happened to me was I went to university, I changed my city, I changed my school, I changed even my interest, because in high school I was interested in, English and French, but when I went to university I started studying business. So it's kind of not the same interest, and it was not the same interest with my friends, because some of my friends went to study writing, or they went to study as an architect, so it's quite different. But the point is, when I went to university, the first semester was half online, half offline. So I kind of bonded with some people, but I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I found my best friend. The second semester was completely online, so I didn't even have the chance to go to parties or to bond with people offline. And of course, online it's different. The third semester was the first time when I had the chance to meet everyone in person. And that was the first time when I started feeling lonely. This was last September, and it wasn't even the feeling of loneliness. It was the feeling of, okay, I have some friends that I can hang with during the lesson, but I didn't have that specific boyfriend or girlfriend, or I didn't have that specific group of friends with whom I always went to, went to have a dinner or went to parties. And I started to feel like maybe this place wasn't my place at all, because I saw other people go with their friends, or they always were in a group of, 5 or 6 people. But it just wasn't me. Like, I always went to classes alone, and I started to miss that feeling what I had in high school, that every time I went to a different classroom, I was going with my friends, or after school I went to grab an ice cream with them. So it was completely different. And I started to feel lonely. I started to feel like this isn't my place to be. So I thought that I would give you guys 5 tips, because this is the 4th semester now, and I don't feel this way. I mean, nothing's changed. I didn't find my best friend, I didn't find a group of friends, but I realized what could be the reasons, and I thought that I would share them with you. The first one is, sometimes when you go to a group, the group is already a close group of friends, and it's really hard to be involved. It can be a church group, it can be a sports club, it can be, a university or school in general. It can be, for example, a colleague group of friends. So sometimes it's not your fault you met them by the time when they were already a close group of friends. I know when I was in high school and I had a group of friends, it was really hard for other people to come in and be like us, because when you're a group of friends like 4 or 5 people, you have, I don't know, I wouldn't call it rules, you have like hobbies, interests, and when you do them a lot, it's gonna be just weird if someone comes and be like, hey, I want to be like you guys. Of course we invited others, but some people come, some people go, but the core is always the same. So it's really hard to go into, and sometimes you have to wait until other people invite you in, because then you will feel that, okay, maybe they see something in me, maybe they want me to be there because they saw something in me. It can be like any type of group, but the point is, sometimes they are so close already, they've been friends for, I don't know, like 10 years. They've been friends for 10 years. Do you think if you go there and just be there for, I don't know, 2 days, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, you have to come in? No. The second one, sometimes, and I think that this was my fault, sometimes people are not open enough. And for example, when I go in and they start talking to me, I was like, okay, yes, no, maybe, of course. I wasn't confident enough. But when you start talking to someone and you see like, oh my gosh, she or he's so confident, I want to be her or his friend, then they will invite you in. Be open, even if you feel like you're not gonna like them, because, oh my gosh, I know this group, they behave so badly, I don't want to join them. But maybe they will ask you some questions like, hey, do you want to join? Hey, come sit with us. You have to, and you need to try to be open. You need to be like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. Because sometimes I was so prejudicial that I was like, oh my gosh, that group looks so bad, they drink energy drinks. And when they invited in and I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try, like, what can I lose? You can lose nothing. They invited me and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are so nice. And of course I didn't get into the group, but every time I see them, they say hi to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so nice. And that's a good feeling when someone says hi and they smile at you. So it's really nice. You need to be open. The third one, and this is the hardest to understand. For example, you go to different university because you like, I don't know, you want to be a doctor. There are other people there, but just because you share the same interest, you are not gonna be friends with each other. I agree that friendships are based on common interests, but I can give my own example that this is not true, because all my real true friends that I've been friends with for, I don't know, like 8+ years are not in the same interests as I am. We have a lot to talk about every day, basically, even though we are not in the same university, for example. Or you go to church. Why do you go to church? Because you believe in some God, but you don't go to church to make friends. You go to church to pray, to read the Bible, to, I don't know, to confess. And it's okay if you go to church, but you don't have friends, because you don't go to church to make friends. You go to church because you feel like you want to pray. And if you pray, if you read the Bible, then you belong to the church, even though you don't talk to any people. Because your purpose of going there was not to make friends, but to pray, to find your God, to finish the Bible, whatever your problem is. I think that this got me through of not feeling lonely anymore, because I knew that I had my friends. I knew I wasn't going to university to, I don't know, party all day, every day. Yes, when I go to party, I have friends that I can go with, but I don't miss the feeling of having that group of friends anymore, because I know that in university, my aim is to study, to get a degree, to get a job, whatever. But some people feel like, oh my gosh, they go to a different place, environment, and if they don't have any friends, they just don't belong there, because that's not true. The fourth one I'd like to share is, sometimes connections and relationships happen over time. What does it mean? Good example. One of my best friends at the moment in high school, I barely talked to her. I was like, okay, she goes to my class, but that's all. I knew her name and that was all. But when high school ended, we somehow started talking more, And now we're best friends. I know everything about her, she knows everything about me, and this is a connection that I thought, like, I was like, in 8 years we barely talked, and high school ended and suddenly we are best friends. So you never know when it's gonna happen, but it needs time. I was friends with other people in high school that I'm not friends with anymore. She was friends with other people that she's not friends with anymore. And that's how we got connected. We went through all the bad things to conclude the good things, and the good thing is our friendship. So you have to give it time. If you've been in a, I don't know, club for 2 years and you haven't met any friends, it's okay, because maybe it will evolve with time. If you rush something, it's not gonna be working, because the more you rush it, the less you are really into it. Like, okay, let's just get over with this, let's be friends, let's change context, and that's all. Maybe you realize that, I don't know, she's a bad person, or that you have nothing in common. Then why the rush? Give it time, because with time, everything will evolve. And the last one that I would like to give you guys, just don't give up. I know that sometimes it can be rough to go to work, to be with your family, if you feel like you don't belong there. Sometimes people express their love or their care in a way that you don't see. What do I mean? For example, if you feel like you don't belong in your family because they say bad things about you, or because they say really, really weird things, or because you just don't feel like, okay, my friend's mom gives her a kiss every time they say goodbye and mine doesn't. People are different, and people express their love in a different manner, in a different way. So if you feel like, okay, I can talk to people but they're not interested in me, maybe they are, but they are just bad at expressing it. So before you jump into any conclusion that, okay, everybody hates me in this place, I don't belong here, I want to go, yes, my +1 tip is, if eventually you feel like you hate being somewhere, just switch, just change, just go, just leave, because you can leave whenever you want. You don't have to be in a place where you don't feel like you don't belong. But before you do this sudden decision that, okay, I hate everybody here, okay, I get it. But sometimes you have to see, like, okay, but do they really hate me? Do they really don't like me? Or are they just different and they express their feelings differently? And the +1 tip that I wanted to share is the just leave. If you tried everything and still didn't succeed, and you think that in another place you would be happier, just do it. Because the more you feel unhappy, the more depressed you will be, and then life is just gonna go like this and you won't even live. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video, and I hope that you know that in this channel you belong, because I'm always here to help you, I'm always here to cheer you up. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to know more, if you want to see more advice from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!